morning. I have another Ask Alex video. I'm still getting the hang of this streaming thing with my YouTubes and my Facebooks and my Instagrams. Here we are in Georgetown, Texas. How y'all doing? So, I have some questions that I still need to answer from Marcus. I think that's his name, from Uruguay. I think there's another question from Maria in Moscow and several others. But let me just say this, now that I'm live, whoever's watching and whoever will watch this, because it's going to go on YouTube, I'm going to share it with the social media. I'm on the social media. And hopefully people that are interested in what I have to say will be able to check this out. But just like Ask Paul from PS Audio, Paul McGowan has these wise videos about high-end audio, about audiophile topics, and I think they're really, really well done. Point is, people actually write questions to good old Paul McGowan, and he answers them. So I've answered quite a few so far just on Facebook, but go to my Facebook page, go to my Twitter page. I'm at Funky Rustic on Twitter, and you can search for Alexander Brandon, my fan page, and you can ask questions there. I put them into a Google Sheet and answer them later. Tell me what your name is, where you're from, and what your question is. You can ask about Unreal Tournament, you can ask about Unreal, you can ask about Deus Ex, you can ask about the future, current stuff, how I'm going to get my music out there to sell so I can keep making albums, if I'm going to be doing more game music and when, all kinds of stuff. Game audio, implementation, maybe even a little, some tidbits on Wasteland 3. I need to get permission from InExile/Microsoft/Deep Silver about Wasteland 3. Of course, there's a whole PR department. Mike and Matt Whipple, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and Matt Amy are the good people that manage that. There's some cool stuff with Wasteland going on right now, but here's today's topic, and it's just one that I come up with on my own that I feel will hopefully help people out there about just music in general sometimes, and that is simplicity. I was helping my son yesterday with a TikTok video. Yep, he's into making videos, and he's into making clever stuff. I like to support that. So yesterday, he did one where it looks like he's flying, so I've lifted him off the ground to help him out with that one. But the music that he used was Sirius by Alan Parsons Project, also the Chicago Bulls theme, which I didn't know until I asked Alexa to play it. So I just remembered I forgot to turn off Bluetooth. Sorry, you're listening to this through my car's microphone, which is abysmal in quality. So that's another improvement that I need to make. Sorry about that, folks. Anyway, Sirius by Alan Parsons Project. About as simple a concept of a piece of music as you can get. And yet I'm sure he's made more than a few bucks from that song, right? Now, Alan Parsons is a famous engineer. He was the studio engineer for one of the most well-known albums of all time, Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd, right? And that's just a tiny amount of the work that this guy has done. But it's a simple song. A lot of Alan Parsons stuff is pretty simple, but it just, and you know, some of it could even be called like, hey, adult contemporary, it's yacht rock sounding. I'm not into that kind of stuff. Great, except it's still sold. It still was popular. It still charted in whatever way. And yeah, he had his ties to, you know, working in Abbey Road and doing these amazing albums. But just because you're an engineer does not mean that you're going to, you know, sell hundreds of thousands, if not millions of copies of an album out there. You're not going to get into the mainstream like he did. So what's his secret there? Well, hopefully, or maybe I'll be able to ask him about that one of these days. But the point of that is simplicity. The song Sirius is simple, and it's one that most people my age, and I think maybe even younger, recognize. Obviously, Sean recognizes it because it's being used in TikTok videos. So, is he getting paid for that? I don't know. That's a good question. But point being, the actual composition of the song. It's simple. Sometimes simple is better. We live in an age where we're assaulted daily by, oh, here's the next Spitfire instrument, here's the next whatever from Impact Soundworks. These are companies that need to keep releasing things to survive, and that's an unfortunate reality of economics and capitalism, whatever you want to call it. But simplicity can really be the key, whether it's from 8-bit tunes that have complex notes but simple instrumentation, or whether it's just holding a single note, like the theme that's used by good old Hans Zimmer in Batman, the the Batman: The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger's theme is that single held note with a violin, just the hello, TrueNeutralEvGenius. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to do one more round here in my neighborhood, and then I'm going to close out. But point being, it's far too easy to get too complex. It could be with a synthesizer. It could be trying to nail that exact sound that you want for whatever 8-bit stuff that you're working on. If you're into 8-bit, or even if you're just holding a guitar in your hand, you might want to go crazy with arpeggiations and super speed, like the virtuosos, and make that be your goal. Maybe try taking a step back. If you try just seeing just what a simple combination of notes can do, sometimes that's not where our creative brains go. They tend to want to just run and just go noodling, as as it's known. What about taking a step back and just seeing what a couple of notes can do with whatever instrument you're using and however it is that you're trying to express it? Maybe just try a couple of notes with different instruments and just experiment that way. That's something that I'm going to be doing with some future stuff that's going to go into Omega Force, which is the next album, guitar album, as it were. And hopefully that little tip will help y'all. All right. That's what I've got for today. Remember what I was saying about ask me your questions. Put them in the comments in YouTube. I will put them into the Google Sheet. I will get your name. I will get your location. I will give you a nice shout out, and I will answer your question. So, thank you for joining me, and have a good day.